But listen, I was in Boston at MIT with my son for their inventions program, showcase or fest, whatever you'll call it, Eureka Fest. And I started paying attention. And I'm looking around, and I was in the airport. I'm looking around, and I saw a lot of women who are outside of the beauty constructs of America. Meaning, America portrays a certain type of woman to us. And so when you look at your commercials on television, when you look at the movies and you look at the TV shows, when you look at the Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition, when you look at the women that brands may use, they're all, I would say, you typically 90% gonna be 140 pounds and less. And I saw a lot of women who, they were built differently. You know, they were, and don't take this the wrong way, it's just an observation, not saying good or bad or anything. But I saw women who had, full hips, just, they were in their own skin, in their own way, with their own unique build, and they were not trying to fit inside of the look that America gives us. Now, the modeling industry, like on the runway, we can't really look at that as the standard. What I'm talking about is like what you see as the lead actress in most of your TV shows. When you look around, most of them have a very similar body type. And the only time they're over like 150 pounds is if they're taller, but yet they're still, built the same. Now you have exceptions to the rule. When you look at the magazines, when you look at the models, like go to Target, go to Walmart, and look at the pictures that they use. Now they're trying to be more diverse in the body images because people are built differently. And so they're trying to be more diverse in that, to be more politically correct and more inclusive, and also understanding like we live in America where our portion sizes, the chemicals and steroids in our food, like our bodies are growing differently. The American body, male and female, looks different than when you go to Europe on average, or you go to Africa. In America, we have a lot fuller bodies, men and women. And it's just how we eat. And we eat a lot. And the portions are absolutely insane. And everything is supersized and large. And like you literally go through a drive-through at like a fast food place like Burger King or Taco Bell, you say a medium and the cup is gigantic. And it's like, why would you even waste this much soda? Like, what is the point of having a medium be this big? And it's just crazy. And so one thing that I noticed is a lot of women who don't fit the stereotypical image that's being pushed upon us are married. And a lot of the women who fit the stereotypical image are not married. And I was like, wow. And it helped me realize, and it reminded me, the number one thing that men look for in a woman, that the number one thing men look for in a wife. And I was like, I've known that, but I did not want to, say that because no woman really believes it. But it just was amazing for me to see, just even in our group, seeing, these women who, it was very interesting. Like, I was like, wow. all of these women are the opposite of what the world is pushing on men today and saying, hey, go after this type of woman, go after this type of woman in the looks department, in the shape, in height, build, what have you. Because a woman could be 150 pounds and be very slim, or she could be very shapely. It just depends on her build. And so people hold weight differently. If you see an African woman, she may be built differently than a Indian woman or a Caucasian woman. And when you start to look around and pay attention, you start to notice, like when I went to South Africa, I noticed a lot of women who had very full backsides, but very slender waist. And it was very intriguing to me because I'm like, how does this person have no waist? And it was a lot of women. And it was women who their legs would be like this and their arms would be like this, but then they would have, their backside would be like what women are paying for in America. And I'm a very observant person. My wife, she always said it to me. But one thing she noticed is I look at old men, older women, elderly men, elderly women, young men, young women, that I just people watch. I've always been quiet and very observant. And I'm looking at everything and everybody, and I'm collecting data. For me, it's not about looking and lusting and doing all of that. And so that's why I'm bringing this real live data to you, because I started to look around and I'm like, okay, the young lady. So you got Lizzo, and then I believe Ashley Graham is like the body positive model. So those two different builds, right? So I saw a lot of women that were built like that, and they had on wedding rings. And then I saw this string of women that were built like what I see on the movie, like a Paula Patton, Jennifer Lopez. Of course, not exactly like Jennifer Lopez. And then all the other types of shapes that the movies put as the lead actress, no ring on their finger. And then women who no makeup, hair not done, with a ring on their finger. And so it just reminded me that it is true that the number one thing that men are looking for in a woman is personality. Personality and compatibility. And I want you to think about this, because a lot of women, and I'm not saying go out the house and look a mess and don't work on yourself and don't do anything, but if you pay attention, the women who know how to relate to a man in a conversation, the women who are not just like overly naggy and just quirky and just annoying. And that's what I'm finding, is that a lot of women today are annoying. And I hate to say that. But a lot of women today need to take like a personality class. But I feel like from being single, and I don't know if it's social media or whatever, but I'm noticing, even as a coach and what I'm doing, a lot of women are so in their head that they're creating this unrealistic world, and they're talking to themselves so much from being alone and from being single. They're talking to themselves so much that they're becoming socially awkward or very weird and cannot relate to a man in an authentic, natural way. That it's a lot of extraness. It's a lot of just poor personality. And for example, there'll be a woman who she'll go out to eat and she can't let her food touch. So if she having bacon and eggs and toast, the bacon cannot touch the eggs and the eggs cannot touch the bacon. Nothing can touch. She gonna be single. It's just things like that to where I've heard of women who not single, but won't buy a house that's been lived in. So just being super extra and just super complicated. And what I'm noticing about these women who they don't have the body that's been praised and promoted, they don't have the height or the weight or the shape or the look or the features, because they've been overlooked, because they've been shunned, because they've been alienated or ostracized or mistreated. It has humbled them in a way that they have learned how to go along to get along, so to speak, meaning they've learned how to adapt. They've learned how to be water, my friend, like Bruce Lee said. They've learned how to fit in whatever situation they're in and not make that whole situation or the whole room conform to them and be about them. They've learned how to adapt. They've learned how to be personable, how to be friendly, how to hold a conversation. And they have a sensitivity to the thoughts and the feelings and the emotions of others because of how the world has treated them. So they also become less judgmental. So when they meet this man, and when I'm looking at these women, it's like their husband may be 300 plus pounds. Their husband may be 5'6", 5'7", but they're married. They got 2 incomes. They're having kids. They have a family. But it's about the connection. It's about the love. It's not about how tall is he, how much money does he make, does he work on Wall Street, is his hands dirty from doing construction. It's like, no, it's about, are you going to talk to me with some respect? Are you going to be a teammate and build with me and help me build a life? It's like that. Those are the questions these women are asking, not how tall are you? How big is your thing? How much stamina do you have in the bedroom? Because I could look at some of the husbands and tell they got ED by the way they breathing. That ED mean erectile dysfunction. I could tell that they a minute man just by the way they walk, by the way they breathe, just by how they built. And some of these men cannot see their thing when they look down because of, got them a stomach on them, eating well, but married, got kids, doing well, making money. And that's what it's about. It's about coming together, building a life, and getting over what your stomach look like, how big your thing is, how tall are you, what your mama look like, what your daddy look like, what your genetics like. And that's what so many women getting caught up in. And then you have these women who, because of their genetics, they've been mistreated, they've been overlooked, they've been ostracized, they've been bullied, they've been looked down upon, talked about. And so now they're coming together with these men who may feel similar ways. And so what I'm noticing, and some of the women who have been shunned and overlooked by society, there's nothing wrong with them. The great people, great personality, great heart, great mind, smart, could do anything, lot going for themselves. And the men is not always in the same boat. Some of the men, former athletes. Some of the men was Mr. Well-to-do. But in the grand scheme of things, in conversing with this woman, he fell in love with her personality. He fell in love with her communication and conversation skills. And a lot of times women don't realize that about men, is that a good man is more so looking for peace than for looks and a body. So when I met my wife, she ran track, but she had the tip, like what I would see on a lot of Indian women, that midsection. Not something to where you like looking down on them like, oh, you need to fast or you need to get on a diet or you need to, but it's not like some of the black women, the African women, where they could eat a whole pizza and their stomach don't even poke out. Like, you know, like Sha'Carri Richardson, the track athlete, how she built, that's a certain part of Africa that a lot of people built like that. Now she work out, so she, you know, she done earned that body too. She maintaining it. But my wife, she was not. And then her mom, again, she black, but she not the black. Her family or her genetics not from the area where you got a heavy set gluteus maximus. It's more so like just the long back. You just got the long back. And so my wife took from that and with the Indian, so she was not built like what I was used to seeing in Black American women. It was more so elongated. It's like elongated, like a long legs, you know, long limbs, and kind of flattened, but not, you know, rounded or plumped up. And not to say either one or the other, but it was different for me. It was not what I was used to. It was not what I was attracted to. But I've seen her face as a beautiful face. And her body she had very nice legs because she ran the 800 in track. Real nice thighs. And so now, and then me, I'm 5'9.5", 5'10". I'm 5'10", but one day they put a ruler to me and said 5'9.5". I said, something wrong with that ruler, and left half an inch off of here. So I'm coming in short at 5'10", because 90% of women, when you ask them for their list, they gonna say 6 foot or taller. My wife almost 5'8", so naturally she looking for 6 foot or taller. The ex she was with right before me was 6'4". And the other guy she dated pretty much all was, you know, probably 6'3". Probably one of the guys she dated for a short stint probably was 6'10", so 6'8" or something. You know, so all the guys she dated was over 6 foot because she played basketball. And then here I come in 5'10". And so I say that to say we both were outside of our preferences. So now when you take and you look at this and you see this, what the deciding factor for me and my wife was her personality. And so now this is what has happened. Darker skin has not been praised and has not been promoted and has not been celebrated. So that group of people got to their bag. They put their head down, they went to work, they focused, they got degrees, they started companies, they started building, they climbed the ladder. Now they CEOs, business owners, founders, and now darker skinned people have a bag. They making millions now, 6 figures, 7 figures, 8 figures, 9 figures, 10 figures, because when you left to yourself and you're not being coddled, you're not being praised, you figure out how to get it out the mud. You figure out how to make something out of nothing. That's one thing I noticed growing up, is that the women who had more meat on their bones always had the nice Altima with the 20s, with the 18s or the 20-inch rims on it. I used to see nice Altimas and Maximas, and I'd be behind and I'd be following because you could tell it's a woman car because of the rims and stuff. And I'd follow the car to the gas station because I noticed a woman. And all of the time, 90% of the time, the woman who get out of that nice car would have more meat on her bones than America was promoting to us as beautiful. And it baffled me. And I said, why is it the women with more voluptuous, more of a shape, like, more meat on their bones, got the nice cars? And then it hit me that the women who was like built like the track athlete, with the thighs and the butt, but like athletic build, they were spoiled. A lot of them were spoiled by the attention following because you could tell it's a woman car because of the rims and stuff. And I follow the car to the gas station because I noticed a woman. And all of the time, 90% of the time, the woman who get out of that nice car would have more meat on her bones than America was promoting to us as beautiful. And it baffled me. And I said, why is it the women with more voluptuous, more of a shape, like, more meat on their bones, got the nice cars? And then it hit me that the women who was like built like the track athlete, with the thighs and the butt, but like athletic build, they were spoiled. A lot of them were spoiled by the attention from a man. So they were so boy crazy that they forgot their bag because they were so boy crazy. But the women who was ostracized, alienated, overlooked, they got in their books, they got their grades, they got their degree, got their job, built the life, became successful. And then a man came along and say, oh, you got a car, you got a apartment or a house, you got a job, you got a degree. I want a family. I want security. I want you. And then the woman who was getting all the attention from the guys, she in the hoopty. She driving the hoopty. She, working in her 30s, 40s, in like $10 an hour. But the woman who was overlooked, she at 30 an hour, 40 an hour, she on salary, $85,000 a year, $90,000, and she might fall into the category that has been overlooked. So she may be darker skinned, or she may be built differently than what is being promoted and praised. And so she focused on herself, had her head down, hand to the plow. She doing the work. She getting it out the mud. So start to look around and pay attention and understand there's exceptions to the rules. There's exceptions to the rules. So yes, you're going to see this lighter skin, absolutely gorgeous or beautiful woman in your depiction of her, and she makes six figures and she doing great. I'm not saying all of the women who were put into this class of beauty by your country is doing bad. That's not what I'm saying. So don't listen to that. But a lot of times they boy crazy because they've been getting attention since they could walk. They've been getting attention from the opposite sex. So it's always been a distraction. But the little girl who looked like Annie from the movie Annie, from the show Annie, the girl who looked like her, she wasn't getting no attention. And so she was overlooked. And then guess what? Next thing you know, she a star. Now she's a star actress on Magnolias, on Netflix, or on whatever. Red hair, freckles. Now she missed it. Now the guys want her. Oh, you ain't want her when she... Back then, you ain't want her. Now she hot, you all on her. So what happened? She got her bag up. She learned how to adapt. She learned how to talk to people. She learned how to treat people. So now she meet this man and he realized, oh, looks fade. Body gonna sag. Things gonna change. Oh, okay. Let me focus on what really matters in the grand scheme of things. And so, voila. Now you got then start paying attention. Start paying attention. And this thing get deep now. It's a lot of sides to it. It ain't no just one size fit all. But what I found is a lot of the Miss Pretty. This ain't me saying it. This is based on societal constructs. A lot of the Miss Pretty, they focus on preferences and not standards. They focus on the man height, the man weight, the man income, the man aesthetics, his look, and they missing out. They missing out because the men that look good got a lot of options, and so they dogs on average. They dogs. They mistreat women. They take women for granted. They dog them out. And then the men who have been overlooked because of their weight, because of their height, because of their face, they have learned how to treat a woman like a queen, and they appreciate a woman. They're going to take care of that woman. They're going to provide. They're going to look out. They're going to be kind. They're going to be nice. And now there are exceptions to the rule. Now, of course, we're not talking about that. I get tired of y'all people who want to be in the comments with the exception to the rule for the sake of arguing. We understand that there are men who look like the back of a 57 Buick who ought to be drinking dirty bath water, but they treating women like crap. We understand that, okay? As adults, let's stop stating the obvious in the comment and let's get the purpose of the video. Thank you. And so, I want you to start paying attention. And you finna see more women who are outside of the beauty constructs of your country with a ring on their finger than women who are said to be the standard of beauty. And what it comes down to is personality, how you treat people, and also reality, being rooted in reality with humility. So when you have been judged, when you have been bullied, when you have been overlooked, you're not going to be as picky and as superficial as the people who have had everything given to them because of how they look. You're going to be more rooted in reality, and you're going to appreciate who likes you. You're going to respect who likes you. Like a lot of times I see couple and the woman is 400 pounds and the man is 400 pounds because, or 300 and 300, or 200 and 200, or 500 and 500. Because they say, listen, I can't judge you. I can't judge you because I got meat on my bones too. That's where people go wrong. We looking for something we are not. And that's how we end up getting mistreated. That's how we end up with the bottom of the barrel. Because if I'm 200 pounds, I got to be okay with my woman being 200 pounds. Unless, it's a height difference. But if I'm 5'10", 200, if my woman 5'10", I got to be okay with her being 200 pounds. I can't be, I want you to be 130 and I'm 200. So what's happening is a lot of people missing out. And what I'm noticing is a lot of these women that's outside of what Instagram and the movies is telling you is beautiful. A lot of these women getting married. And you know why? Because they know how to talk to a man. They know how to treat a man. They know not to judge a man in a way they don't want to be judged. I remember a woman was making $20,000 a year, $20,000 to $40,000 a year, and told me she want a man that make at least $2 million. I say, well, what make you think $2 million, a $2 million man gonna want a $20,000 woman? That don't go together. That don't go. And if he do want you, he wants you to be a slave. He don't want you as no wife that he treating right. But the woman who say, hey, I make 20,000, I can't judge a man who make 20,000. I can't look down on him because he make 20,000, because I make 20,000. And I got equal opportunity just like him. I could get a degree just like him. I could become a CEO of a Fortune 500 company. I could become the vice president of the country. So I can't look down on him for him making 30,000 if I'm making 30,000. But listen, a woman will miss her whole husband because she make 80,000 and she want him to make 160,000. And she will look at him like a unsuccessful peon because he's at 80,000, not realizing this man's sitting on 400,000 in his money market or his stock portfolio that he could withdraw for low times, hard times, or income supplement. But he ain't walking around with that on his forehead. You got to get to know him and get in a situation to find out. You see what I'm saying? So what I'm noticing is it's a lot of women who get married and Miss Hottail looking at her like, how she got a husband before I got a husband? Personality. She humble. She grateful. She's kind. She rooted in reality. She compassionate. She's understanding. She willing to build. She's a teammate. She's a giver. She's not a taker. She got the fruits of the spirit. That's why she married. You see what I'm saying? You got to work. You got to keep working on that personality. Now, I'm not saying that if you're a single woman, something is wrong with you, because you might be in protective custody, meaning that God is not allowing you to meet your husband right now because it's still work you need to do, meaning it's still healing you need to do, or you need to start your company. You need to build your brand. You need to get some legs up under your purpose before a man come in your life and derail you from your purpose or distract you from your purpose. See, a man distracting you from your purpose may not be malicious. It just may be your purpose gonna require 20 hours of your time a week, but you get into a relationship, you giving that relationship them 20 hours. Then you get married, then you get pregnant. Now you don't have the 5, 10, 15, 20 to 40 to 80 hours a week to do what God called you to do. So you may be in protective custody, meaning God have you building in your purpose until it get legs and it's sustainable and it's consistent. So I worked 80 hours a week for about a decade until I could and made hundreds of thousands until I was able to work 7 hours a week and make millions. It was a foundation that had to be laid. And once I laid the foundation, once I had to till the land, once I got the land ready, now I just could plant seeds. and reap a harvest. But it took years to get that land ready. Took years to get that ground right and ready for the crop to yield fruit. You see what I mean? And so God may have you may be doing everything right. And see, the people who got frustrated with the message and clicked off before this point, they done missed their message. You might be doing everything right, but it ain't going your way because you on God plan. And God plan don't always make sense to you. It ain't always going to stick out to you. Nah, that's a small percentage. Now, don't go to thinking that I'm talking to you now. You need to put a microscope on your life first. Now, don't just think, oh, I'm going to protect the cousin. He definitely talking to me. Yeah. We need to assume you got work to do. Let's assume you got work to do on you. And now when you've done all you can do in the 3 B's, brain, brand, and body, then you have been ushered into protective custody. But if the brains, brand, and body is not in order, it's work on you that need to be done. And this for male and female. And so that's what got to be understood. So, hey, this is Tony Gaskins. God bless you.